Hi. This is our final session for the day. This is our last and final session for the day, and we are talking child safety matters. And we have the delectable Barrister Taiwo Akinlami to talk to us. Barrister Akinlami is like an authority when it comes to child safety. He's coming right on to talk to us. So get ready to learn. Bring your pen, your papers. Get ready to learn. How do you protect your child in a world filled with predators, in a world filled with people who are seeking to harm your child? How do you protect your child? We're bringing in Barrister Taiwo Akinlami to have that conversation with us, and we hope to round up in the next 45 minutes with that conversation. Share this broadcast, bring people in, let them know what is happening here. Let's learn together. Let's become better people. Let's protect our children. Let's raise better children, and let's change the world. So I'm bringing in our very own Barrister Taiwo Akinlami. Get ready to catch the fire of child safety right now. So welcome, Barrister. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you tonight.
All right.
Can you
I'll
hear
leave
me
the
clearly?
stage for you. Yes, I can hear you. So I'm leaving the stage and you go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having me. My name is Taiwo Akinlami, as I've been introduced. I apologize deeply for coming in late. I have been in transit. My flight was delayed, and so we had to cope with that. That's what we cope with living in Nigeria. And I think, again, flight delay or cancellation, I think is a global problem, really. So I don't think it's a Nigerian problem. Anyway, having said that, let me appreciate Dr. Vivian Okoye for putting this program together, for our passion, for our commitment to educate parents, to empower parents, to enable parents. That is a great vision. That is a great commitment. I do personally celebrate it. I honor it. And that is the reason why I'm here, to be part of that great commitment that she has to help our children, that she has to help our parents to be better people, to be people that are able to protect children. So in talking about this subject matter, is something I can talk about for days, unending. But because of the time that we have, I want to break this conversation into three subheadings. So I'm discussing with you securing a friendly and protective environment for children. How do you secure a friendly and protective environment for children? So I will divide it into three. The first thing is who is the protector? The second one is what is the protector expected to do? What is the protector expected to do? What does the protector even talk about to the child? Then the last one is who is the child? So those are the three areas I want to look at very quickly. Who are you, the protector? Who is the child? How do you protect your role? How do you play your role? What do you teach? What do you talk about? Why do you talk about them? How do you talk about them? Then who is the child? So I believe that if I'm able to cover those three briefly, I believe that I'm going to be able to do justice to this conversation. Now, so let's begin with who are you? Now, the number one thing is this: when I'm talking about you, I'll talk about you positionally, and I'll talk about you in terms of the responsibility that is expected of you. Positionally, when you are expected to protect children, you are either a primary caregiver or a secondary caregiver. You are either a primary parent or a secondary parent. Because I have come to accept that parenting is a four-dimensional responsibility. Four-dimensional. There are four dimensions to parenting. I'm trying to see if I can. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? I'm trying to loud this thing. Okay, good. I think, can you hear me clearly? If you can hear me, just let me know. Good. So there's primary parent, there's secondary parent. And I've come to say that that raising children or protecting children is a four-dimensional responsibility. Four-dimensional responsibility. There are 4 institutions responsible for protecting children. 4 institutions. That's why I want to begin the conversation with who is the protector. Because when it comes to protecting children, there's this erroneous belief that it is only the parents. When the child is with the parents, it is only the teacher. When the child is with the teacher, it's only the nanny. When the child is with the nanny. But it's not so. Now, parenting, raising children, protecting children is a 4-dimensional responsibility. There are things that put pressure on one institution when it is the only one playing that role. So raising children, protecting children, securing a friendly and protective environment for children is a 4-dimensional responsibility. It means that there are 4 institutions responsible for securing a friendly and protective environment for children. Unfortunately, in Africa and in third world countries, only one institution is functioning. The remaining 3 institutions are almost comatose, and I will explain. Now, it is important to note that these institutions are what God envisaged to protect children. That's why the African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to protect a child. It takes a village to take responsibility for the protection of children. It takes a village. It takes a village to secure a friendly and protective environment for children. So that's why I say that raising children protecting children is a 4-dimensional responsibility. The first institution that is responsible for protecting children is the family. The family is the first institution. The second institution that is responsible for protecting children, securing a friendly and protective environment for children is the community. In the community, you have the family. In the community, you have the media. In the community, you have the church. In the community, you have the mosque. In the community, you have NGOs. In the community, you have the social media. In the community, you have neighbors. It is those neighbors, that is the community. The third institution that is supposed to secure a friendly and protective environment for children is the state. The state as represented by government. The state as represented by government. The fourth institution is the international community. And you see, you can't do too much with the international community because the international community move according to interest. They move according to interest. So if their interest does not align with your interest, then they may not intervene in your matter. When there was war in Rwanda between the Hutus and the Tutsis, the international community did not intervene. When there was a crisis, war for 33 months or so in Kosovo, was in Kosovo, yes. The international community, I'm not sure I got that name right. The international community did not intervene. Now, the international community intervened in Syria. The international community intervened in Libya. They intervened in Egypt. But today, they have not been able to intervene in Syria. Why have they not been able to intervene in Syria? Because of the interests of China and Russia. They are not able to go there to protect children, to help families, to do all of that they are supposed to do. They are not able to declare a no-fly zone. NATO has not been able to help in Syria. So our girls were kidnapped. Till today, some of them were found, some of them have not been found till today. Second kidnap took place, but an American citizen was taken. America came to Nigeria to rescue their citizen. That's to show you that international community is according to interest. So we can't dwell too much on when it comes to protecting our children on international community. So we need to look at the family. We need to look at the community. We need to look at the states. Those ones we need to look at. So the question today is, what is standing between you and protecting your children? So what do you need to do at the level of the family. At the level of the family, your responsibility, if you want to protect your children from physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and neglect, you must begin by asking yourself the question, how do I want to do it? Who do I need to be? What kind of things do I need to put in place? And that's why for over the years, I've advocated for family. Develop a family constitution. Have a family constitution. Let the constitution talk about who you are as a family, the values you hold dear, the people you can relate with, those you can leave your children with, those you cannot leave your children with, the schools you can send your children to. All of that is your own preliminary steps to protect your children. So let me give you an example. I was sexually molested at the age of 6. I was constantly molested from age 6 to 8. Who was the person molesting me? The person that was molesting me was my neighbor. That person was in the community. So it's part of that community that is supposed to protect me. That person that was sexually molesting me was in the community. Now, my parents, because they did not have a constitution or a set of rules that was guiding them, they decided to keep me with somebody who they cannot vouch for. They kept me with a stranger. Now, they kept me with a stranger. Who is a stranger? As Mr. Olakunle would say, a stranger is somebody you cannot vouch for. So because somebody is a nanny, my parents thought that he was a neighbor. Because somebody was a neighbor, my parents concluded that he or she was a nanny. And please note, a neighbor is not a nanny. The only place you find correlation between neighbor and nanny is in the English dictionary. And why? Because both of them start with the word N. So you don't keep your children with people because they are your neighbors. When people want to get an apartment in Abuja, in Lagos, in Canada, anywhere, they don't come with certificates of good behavior. Unfortunately, we are not even in a developed country where there is sexual offenders register. Now, we are trying to develop that in Nigeria, sexual offenders register, we are doing all of that, but it is yet to become a culture. It is yet to become effective. It is yet to become popular. So it has now become your responsibility to do your own due diligence. You don't just leave your children with a neighbor because the person is living next to you. So you will need to find out, who is this person? Is there compatibility of value? Do we agree on the same thing? Are we together on the same issue? What do we believe? What does the person believe? So my parents made 4 fundamental mistakes. Number 1, they felt that because somebody is a neighbor, the person is of good character. Number 2, they did not speak to me about my sexuality. They never spoke to me about my sexuality, which will include them. Number 3, which will include them telling me that if anything happens to me, I must have a conversation with them, which means I did not have a relationship with my parents. I could not talk to them about what I was going through. So I was being serially sexually molested from age 6 to 8 or thereabouts, under the roof of my parents, under the nose of my parents, by a lady who they asked me to stay with when I returned from school. You see what I'm talking about? So what is your guideline? Because you can't protect children without guidelines. And your number 1 guideline is your value system, because it is the boundaries of your habitation. So where to start from is, who is this protector? Is the protector conscious? Is the protector aware of his or her role? Does the protector know what our roles are and what the role of other institutions are? You take your child to a school, you get to the school, you don't ask, do you guys have a child protection policy? Because if it is in our constitution that we are going to ensure that anywhere we go, we are going to ensure highest level of protection and safety for our children, if that is reflected in our family constitution, it means that when we are going to an eatery, it means that when we are going to a recreation center, it means that when we are registering our children in school, it means that when we are taking our children to a religious place of worship, those questions are going to be paramount in our heart. We are going to ask the question, When we take our children, I have a product. So you want to take your child to the children's department of your religious places of worship, ask these 11 fundamental child protection focused questions. 11 questions you must ask. If you are taking your child to a religious place of worship, then I developed another product. I said 15 questions you must ask before you register your child in a school. 15 questions that you must ask before you register your child in a school. Now, how many of us ask those questions? And so we lump everything under God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. When you are supposed to take your child to school, you don't say, God forbid that I sleep off. You set an alarm. When you are supposed to go to work and deliver a project, you don't say, God forbid that I don't prepare it. You stand up, you prepare, you do what you have to do, because you know if you don't move, nothing moves. But when it comes to protecting children, they are in God's hands. But your profession is not in God's hands. It's not in God's hands. Is it not in God's hands? Why do you make effort? Your ICANN, is it not in God's hands? Why are you making effort? The book you are trying to write, is it not in God's hands? Why are you making effort? You keep making effort for things that are critical, but when it comes to children, you say it's in God's hands. Some of us, the way we protect our trinkets, the way we protect our password to our bank account, even our password to Facebook, to YouTube, to social media, the way we protect those things is higher than the way we protect our children. The step we take to protect those things that matter to us, like our trinket, like our bank account, like our social media account. You cannot go now and say, my account number, my account password is in God's hands. My pin to my account is in God's hands. Go and write it on a billboard and put it on the airport, on the way to the airport. Just put it there. My pin number, this is the account name, account number, pin number, put it there. And when people ask what you are doing, it's in God's hands. My account is in God's hands. I'm God's child. We now see that if something matters to you, you give it three things. If something matters to you, you give it, number one, you give it your time. Number two, you give it your energy. Energy is different from time. That's why you can be on this program and be doing something else. Number three, you give it your sacrifice. You sacrifice for it. In economics, it's called opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost of this choice that you are making? It is impossible for you to secure a friendly and protective environment for children without time, without energy, without sacrifice. Something you see Paul was writing. He said, I bear on my body the brand mark. So for you to say you are protecting children, there must be brand mark, particularly in a country like Nigeria, when you are alone. I've told you who the protector is. The protector is the family. The protector is the community. The protector is the state. The protector is the international community. You can't put your egg in the basket of international community. They are not going to come for you. International community is not coming for you, man. They're not coming for you. They're not going to come for you. The international community will not come for you. Are you getting what I'm saying? Are you with me? The international community is not going to come for you. So your government is supposed to come for you. Your community is supposed to come for you. Your family is supposed to come for the children. So the community and the family and the state, they are supposed to empower you so that you can protect your children. Child protection, child's rights, all of these things, they are things that governments in developed countries have taken responsibility for. They let you understand that the child is not your own. The child belongs to the state. So if you mess up your child, you abuse your child, they take your child from you. The other day I was in the US, and my younger sister begged me to say, please, can you help me pick my son when he closes from school? So my younger sister went with me in the morning and said, this, my brother is going to come to help me pick my son when you close. And so the guy said, have you filled the blue form? She said, which blue form? He said, no. For this guy to come pick your son, you have to fill a blue form. We have to get his data. We have to get every information about him. And my sister said, It's my brother. Wait. It's my brother. I came from Africa. It's my brother. I wanted to say, sorry, ma'am, you are the one saying so. What needs to happen is that there's a blue form. If he's from Africa, we bring the data page of his passport, international passport. We have to have detailed information about him, and you sign the blue form. So my sister changed it for them and said, well, if that is the case, then I'll take the child away. He won't stay in school today. Say, sorry, ma'am, we prefer you do that. Just take her home. Just take him home. And tomorrow, when you are able to pick him up, then you bring him to school. Does that happen in Nigeria? If somebody carries the brother to a school and say, this is my brother, let him pick my child, no matter what the school is in Nigeria. And the woman made a statement. When my sister was trying to be angry, said, no, I'm not doing this for myself. This is the decision of the education district. This is of the education district. There's nothing we can do about it. So, you see them now. And in the true sense of it, we are family members. You know, in Africa, we call everybody sister, brother, sister, brother. You know, we are cousins, we are, people like that. So this is the point I'm trying to make to you. The state in those countries are taking responsibility for the protection of your child. A teacher cannot just be abusing children in school. Now, you don't need to beg a school in America, in Singapore, in South Korea, in Finland, in Norway, in Iceland, to have a child protection policy. You don't need to beg them. It is the state that will insist they have it. But here, it is your responsibility. Are you aware? So you take your child to school. When you get there, do you ask them the question, please, do you have a child protection policy? Do you have one? And for you to have a child protection policy, you as a family, do you have a constitution? I keep saying it. A constitution that determines the nature of your family, the values of your family, the premium you place on children, the protection of children, because once children are abused, the impact of abuse is eternal, and so there's divine intervention. That's why we say in our organization, enlightenment is superior to enforcement. Enlightenment will lead to protection of children from abuse. Enforcement is what we begin to do after the child has been abused. And UNICEF has told us that when a child is gathered to prevent a child from being abused, that because when a child is abused, it takes 4 times the resources to abuse than to curb it. So if you want to curb abuse, you spend one naira. If you want to curb it, you spend 1 naira. If you want to respond to it, you spend 4 naira. If you want to prevent abuse, you spend 1,000 naira. If you want to prevent it, you spend 1,000 naira. If you want to respond to it, you pay 4,000 naira. If you want to prevent abuse, you spend 10,000 naira. If you want to respond to it, you pay 40,000 naira. And you keep multiplying like that. So that is why we have been advised that it's better for us to protect our children. But for you to protect your children, you need to understand that there has to be boundaries. There has to be guidelines. You can't run a family that is a city without laws. All this or sleepover. My child wants to go and sleep over. Why? Okay. So the person wants to sleep over. Who is the family that your child wants to go and sleep over? Who are they? Do they share your value? My friend's daughter was 5 years old, and that girl was fearless. Fearless girl. She slept alone in her room. 4 years old. If she was in the bathroom and they took light, the girl would not cry. The girl would wait for them to bring light. This girl was fearless until family came to come and do sleepover, to come and spend holidays. That family spent 1 week. By the time they were leaving, they have deposited fear in this girl. This girl became fearful. This girl would not stay in her room because the girl would do all kinds of things. That was not in the dictionary, but social dictionary of that girl. My friend was lamenting to me. I said, my friend, you know what? Do you know it is possible for you to face your daughter fearless? But you didn't screen those who you brought home to come and sleep over. It's only about sending your child to sleep over. It's also about who can come to your house to come and sleep over. I see parents that meant to me, my son was fine until he went to that place until some people came to my house. I could not use the same level. I could not teach them the same way I teach my children, so that they won't stand wicked. So I let them to do some things. Now they have influenced my children. Just 1 week, my children are something else. Those my children are asking me, Mommy, those things you were insisting on. Why did you insist for Mope? Why did you insist for John? You know, John is your friend. He's not my daughter. Problem starts. So your constitution, we state clearly what are the values? Who can you relate with? Who can you not relate with? Who can you accept? Who can you not accept? Who can you not accept? You see, because in this life, you must choose your way. God is not involved in you choosing your way. That's why he told you, I put before you life and death. Choose life that you may live. If it is the one choosing for you, it's not going to give you that instruction. You say, but what about I work you both to will and to do? Well, not without your consent. It works in you both to will and to do, not without your consent. If I work in you both to will and to do, you will first surrender. If you don't surrender, it can't work in you to will and to do anything. Let us be clear. So that's my first part of the conversation with you. Who is the protector? Who is the protector? Who are you? And many protectors today are victims of their own background, where they are coming from. They themselves were abused. They were sexually abused, emotionally abused, and they never found help. And so they arrive at this responsibility of raising children. They are making a shipwreck of it because they themselves were sexually molested. Now, if you were sexually molested and you never found help, it's an eternal debt. Eternal debt. Eternal debt. That is why when the child goes to a person, let's discuss. I want to discuss sexuality. The woman does not want to discuss it. Why? Because discussing it brings back our pain, brings back our abuse, brings back the bruises, brings back those wounds that have never been treated, not being healed. He said, the woman will say, go and meet your daddy. The daddy himself had his own share of abuse. The daddy does not want to discuss it because the daddy has never looked for it. And so you find a group of people who themselves were abused and they never found help. They never signed up for any kind of help. And find these kind of people now, they are the ones trying to save children. They are the ones trying to provide leadership for children when it comes to safety. That is a major issue. There are 4 ways that we can be abused: physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. It is important that we understand that. So the foundation is, who are you? You that want to protect children. Why am I? I want to protect children. What are the issues I'm dealing with? Because if I don't deal with my own issues is going to come between me and protecting my children. Have you seen situations where a woman told me, so what do I do? My daughter, I leave my daughter 5-year-old with my neighbor. When she returned from school, they keep her in that place. My daughter had come to me to say that she was being sexually molested. Now, have you confronted the people sexually molested? They say, I don't want it to appear as if I'm an English. They are just helping me. I say, okay, that's very sad. You need to understand the implication of this opposition on your child. I say, number 2, madam. Now, have you now stopped putting your child in that place? Say, where would I put her now? I don't have another place. The father is busy with, you see. In their constitution, whether written or unwritten, it is not clear as to the steps they are going to take to protect their children. I have a family friend. They have 1 child. And it is their position. If anybody invites them for an event which they cannot take their child to, they do not attend. It's the principle. Except they find the people that are identified as people that are worthy of receiving their children, except those families available. So they have identified 2 families that they can keep their children with by virtue of value system alignment. And so if those 2 families are not available, they call the people organizing the program and say, sorry, I told you before that I'm going to make it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry. I won't be able to make it. Why? Because there's nobody to keep my son with, there's nobody to keep my daughter with. Because it is clear, this is our position. It's not, but that's how they appreciate children. And I'll tell you another story when I move to the second one, the second point, which is how what are the things that we must talk about when it comes to protecting our children. Now, there's a man called John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell is renowned, is nationally known. So he was attending a program. So he was to speak at a program. For you to speak at that program, you must first attend a pre-briefing meeting. A pre-briefing meeting, because they pay heavily to when you facilitate that program. So you must agree to a pre-briefing meeting. Now, after attending, your host will sponsor the pre-briefing meeting, they will sponsor everything. And after they sponsor everything, if you do not attend that pre-briefing meeting, you cannot speak at the conference. So John C. Maxwell was away attending this conference, this pre-conference briefing, when he got a call from his wife that his son was not doing well. There was challenge with his son. You know what John C. Maxwell did? John C. Maxwell told the organizer, I'm sorry, I've accepted to speak in this program. I've been here, and I just got a call from home. My son is not doing well. I need to go back home. I said, no, the mother said, no, please, I need to go back home. So he left and went home to be with his son. That's what John C. Maxwell did. This is popular. This is a story within public domain, and John C. Maxwell is alive, so you can confirm it. John C. Maxwell left that meeting and went to be with his son. So when he spent time with his son and all of that, then the organizers of the program now called him and said, despite the fact that you did not attend the pre-briefing meeting, which is a prerequisite to speaking at the program, we understand that you did not attend because of family issues. You can still now speak in the conference. He said, no, I'm speaking at the conference. I want to show my son what he is supposed to be. I'm not going to speak at the conference. I don't want to bend the rules. Follow your rule.
I'm sorry about that. I think we have lost Barrister Taiwo Akinlami. His network has been a little shaky. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. Let me hear you in the. Let me see you in the comments. If you can hear me and see me, let me hear in the comments while we see whether Barrister Taiwo will come back in. I'm trying to call him to see if he can join us back. It seems network is bad at his end. But if you can hear me, let me know that it's not a general thing. Let me know that it's not a general thing. Let me know. And I need to see your comment to be sure that you can hear me. Okay, so you can hear me. We just have a few minutes to round off. Let's see if Barrister will come back in. So we round off. But so far, I'm sure that this session has been an amazing, amazing session. And like I have been saying, while we wait to see if Barrister will come back in, please follow us on all our platforms so that you don't miss any of the informations that we are sharing. Follow us on all our platforms. You can follow us on Instagram at Vivian.Okoye, or you can follow us on Facebook in the Conscious Parents community. Barrister is back. Let me see. He's back, but it seems that his network is still having some glitches because I can't see him on the screen. Let's see if that will be resolved soon. So what have you learned so far? We have had 3 sessions today. We started with talking about parenting your adolescents and your teenagers, right? And then we talked about effective discipline. And now we are talking about child safety and protection. It has been valued back to back. I need you to put out these words out there. Whatever you have learned so far, share it with your community. Like Barrister has been saying, it's a collective responsibility. The community owes it to take all the children that responsibility to take care of them and to keep them safe. And if you heard this information, how will the next person know that they need to protect their child? You know, if you raise your child and the next person doesn't raise their child well, your child is still at risk. So it's a collective responsibility. Don't hoard this information. Don't keep it to yourself. And don't assume that other people know what you're learning here. Share it. Let people know. Let them ask you so that you can explain. All of us should be parenting and child advocates. I tell people that parenting is not just about the child that is your biological child. Parenting is about you taking care of every child in your sphere of influence. So as a person, you cannot see a child going through something in your community and you're not able to speak up for that child that cannot speak up for themselves. This is why we are sharing this knowledge, sharing it and keeping the word out there. And the more we do these things, the more people learn, the more people grow in consciousness, and the more we are changing the narrative in our communities, in our society, and the more we're changing the world. That is the sole reason why we are hosting this conference. So don't hoard it, share it on all your platforms, tag us, use the hashtag Parent Summit Africa 2020. I'll bring Barrister, he's back now, his connection is back. I'll bring him and he will round off shortly, and then we'll call it a day until tomorrow. Welcome back, Barrister. We lost you for some minutes.
Yeah.
We just have 10 minutes to go.
Okay. So let me continue. So I was saying the story of Justin. So what I'm saying in essence is that the foundation of everything I'm discussing with you today is that you need to decide from the beginning. See, securing a friendly and protective environment for children does not happen by happenstance. It doesn't happen by wishful thinking. It doesn't happen by just wishing. Because if we were horses, that's right. The truth of the matter is that those who want to mess up children, those who want to destroy children, they are to do more work than those who want to protect them. They are more committed in the enterprise than those who want to protect children. Those who want to mess up children, those who want to mess with the mind of our children, mess with the sexuality of our children, mess with the sanctity of our children, mess with the sanity of our children, they do more homework than some of us who want to protect them. That is why we have to be up and doing. Secondly, I want to talk about what is it that we talk about when it comes to protecting our children. It is important that there are two ways to do it. Number one, we have our own role. That's the family, the community, the international community, and the state. But one error that we make is that we do not involve children in their own safety. And it is important to involve children in their own safety. And so when we talk about involving children in their own safety, we only talk about one thing: sexuality education, sexuality education. No. Now, for example, your house is not built as a playground. Your house is not a playground. If your children are going to play, what they can play in the home is what we call indoor games that are indoor. Now, when they run around the house that is not built as a recreation center, what happens is that they risk being injured. They risk wounding themselves. That is what happened to the son of a woman, popular musician many years ago, Stella Monye. She's the one who sang "Oh, come in, yeah, duro timi ye." Her son was in the house and ran into a broken chair, and that child caught his private part. And she was going around trying to raise funds to attend to that child. We need to involve our children in their own safety, because we are not always going to be around. We are not going to always be around them. We need to let them know the danger of running around in the home. It therefore means that we must create time to take them to a recreation center, because children are born to play. You cannot tell them only play the games. You can only play Scrabble, Monopoly, and all of these games, play computer game and all of that. They need to go out. They need to express themselves. They need to see places. Now, you have to differentiate between that recreation and the things that can happen at home, except you have a large compound where you have a field area, you have green grass, you have a swimming pool, you have all of that, and children can run around. But if your floor is tiled and you have interlocking stones and children are running around, and you say, leave them, let them play, they will fall, they will be injured, you have to rush them to the hospital. Sometimes it can be fatal, or you finish frying something in the kitchen and you leave hot oil, you leave it on the floor and you switch off the light. Your daughter goes in the night trying to maybe take water, or shortly after you shut down the kitchen, and she said, Mommy, I want to drink water. You forgot you put hot oil there, and the child gets into it and the child is affected. So if you tell the child, please, when you get into the kitchen, always put on the light first. But the child thinking is that I know where the cup is, I know where everything, I'll just go and take the cup. Maybe last night you have complained about units, PSCN units. Please, you guys should be careful. You use this unit. It's money we used to buy it. Please be careful. And the child is just being careful. We need to be careful. We need to be clear as to the role of children in their own safety. How do they play that role? You need to let children understand. If they are walking on the road, they walk against traffic. They don't back traffic. You may say it's on your street. People have been killed on their streets. A child the other day was riding bicycle with the other one in my estate, and I saw them. And the brother will be at the back. This is a very, young child, like 5-year-old, was at the back, and the brother will stay at the back. Now, so I stopped. I called the brother. I said, "Come, this is your sister. If danger is coming, it's going to be difficult for her to protect herself. I guess the reason why your parents asked you to follow her is for you to be by her side. Don't, be far away from her. It can just be the hooting of a car, and she will panic, and before you know it, she's the one that will run into the car." So I told the young man, it will be like 14, 15. I said, get close to your sister, get close. Be by her side so that if anything happens, you can help her. We need to let our children understand when they are going on the street. Please note, it is wrong for an adult to ask a child for help. Go and research it. It is wrong for an adult to ask a child for help without the consent of the caregiver of the child. It is wrong for an adult to ask a child for help without the consent of the caregiver of the child, primary or secondary caregiver. So if your child is going on the streets, nobody should ask him or her for direction. Nobody. Because for them to do that, they will still need to come, they will still need to ask you. If they can ask him or her and they don't know you, they can't meet you. These are strangers. So you must let your child understand. If anybody asks you, so say, describe a place, just keep mute and keep moving. Don't even answer. Keep moving. Because we are it was in my estate. It's a secluded estate. We pay through our nose to secure that estate in my estate.
Network has struck again, and we're gradually winding down. This is almost 8:30, and we're winding down. We're coming to the end of the session for the day. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm really, the thing that that Barrister just said right now, it is wrong. It is wrong for an adult to ask a child a question without the consent of the primary caregiver, the primary or secondary caregiver. I'm really amazed. How many of us knew that? How many of us knew that? This is why we have to keep learning. This is why we have to keep learning. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, like, consciously. Of course, we try to apply caution. We teach children to apply caution as well. But I didn't know that it was a rule, or it was a rule of thumb that, you shouldn't ask a child for anything, even if it's direction, without the consent of the caregiver, right? So in this part of the world, you might think it's disrespectful for somebody or an adult to ask the child for something and the child doesn't answer. That is how we'll interpret it in this part of the world. But it's good that we're learning and that we're learning these things. So learning never ends. Learning never ends. Learning never ends. Even me, my notes are filled with notes, like I'm taking notes. So what I'm trying to say is, don't miss any session and feel like, oh, I know it all, I don't need this session. Come ready to learn, come ready to share notes. Even if you know some of these things that are being shared, relearning them is also important. And sometimes you might know something, but not from a particular perspective. And when you hear that, it shows you another perspective of that particular thing. So we're rounding up, and it's almost time to call it a day. It has been long day. I'll just bring Barrister is back in. I'll bring him to give us a final word, and then we call it a day. Guys, don't stop sharing. Keep sharing, keep getting people to sign up for this, keep getting people to watch these lessons. Let's get this viral. It's not only naked people that should be going viral. It's not only bad news that should be going viral. Things like this should go viral too. Barrister,
so it's tough.
It's really tough.
I have to change to another device. So
Okay.
let me round up. So let me give you this example. So if your child is in the school, can somebody just enter the school and call your child and say, oh, yeah, come and run around for me? No. If anybody enters the school, the person will be expected to go and meet the teacher or the principal and ask for permission before the person can send your child on errand. Is that not so? Because at the time your child is in school, your child is under the duty of care. Your child is under the care of the school, and the school has a responsibility to protect the child. So when your child is at home, no neighbor can call your child and send your child on an errand without your consent. And these are things you need to let your children understand. Child, listen, see, there are 18 rules, 18 practical rules that you must give your children when it comes to neighborliness. I'm talking about neighbor, working in the neighborhood, relating with neighbors, and all of that. There are 18 fundamental safety rules you must give to your children. They must understand it. For example, your children must have your number. Now, you sit down with them, they count it in your presence. It's not that you say, you know my number. Your children, your 4-year-old should be able to know your number. Maybe he's counting ABC in school. Maybe you are angry that the child does not know 1 to 100 at age 4 or age 3. So why can't the child know your number? Your child should know your number. Should know your number, know your husband's number, know your wife's number. There should be a family code. I'm 18, I can't discuss all of that. My time is up. There should be a family code that is the code of the family. It can be Team Okoye. So. And that code is used to assess relationship. It's used to assess when somebody comes to your daughter and asks 1 or 2 questions and say this and that, you are able to say, excuse me, I'm sorry, does mommy say this to you? Are you getting what I'm saying? So the point is this: we must. How do you protect your children? When we try to protect our children become prey. It is your responsibility to talk to your children about their sexuality. Sexuality, because you see, we talk to children about private part, public part. Every part of the child is private. Who is a child? A child is anybody below 18 years old. Nobody has a right to touch the child except for the purpose of providing care and cautious affection. What about the dad? What about the mom? If they are providing cautious affection. If you have a 12-year-old, can you wake up your 12-year-old and say you want to bath for your 12-year-old when the 12-year-old is not sick? If the 12-year-old is sick, you can say, okay, you want to bath for your 12-year-old. When your daddy, a father of a child, cannot wake up and say, oh yeah, 10-year-old, oh yeah, I want to bath for you. The guy will ask, excuse me, daddy, what are you saying? I want to bath you. This is the child we have to ask. That's why we say nobody has the right to touch any part of a child's body except for the purpose of providing care and cautious affection. And so, who is this child? A child is a person. A child is a person. And that is why you need to involve the child. The child, what do we mean that a child is a person? A person has worth. That's number one. A person has worth. Number two, a child is not only a person, a child is a thinking being. A child has sense of judgment. When your child tells you something, believe the child. It has been found 96% of the time when the child says, I'm being sexually molested. When the child says, I'm not comfortable with this person, the child is always right 96% of the time. Believe the child. He has sense of judgment. I don't feel comfortable around this person. Don't say, who are you going to feel comfortable around? You're not comfortable around this person. You're not comfortable around this person. If you as an adult can have intuition, if you're an adult can feel uncomfortable with somebody, they brought people to your house to maybe to work for you and say, you tell your husband, you say, sorry, I'm not comfortable with this guy. If you can say it as an adult, how come the child cannot say it? The child also can say, sorry, I'm not comfortable with that school. Mom, I'm not comfortable with this teacher. When this teacher is looking at me, you say, how is he looking at you? My friend, you go to school, how is he looking at you? You see, you are forward. I'm not saying when the child say a teacher is looking at him or her somehow, you should accept it like hook and sinker. But you must respect it enough to want to probe it, to want to ask questions. It's not that you just cut off the child. The child, you want to take the child to school. The child is reluctant. The child does not want to go. Investigate why the child is reluctant. Because the child has sense of judgment. He can think. And lastly, the child has choices, has the power to make choices. So let the child understand that he or she is the number one protector in the sense that the child must be able to report any form of abuse. And when the child reports the abuse, you should not begin with victim blaming. Victim blaming, you too, where did you go there? What did you go and do there? So that's my conversation with you tonight. It's been my pleasure being with you. I've done a trip. I'm a bit tired. I'm not sure I've been coherent, but I've been able to do the much. I hope I've been able to do the much that I'm expected to do tonight. I'm trying as much as possible to even coordinate my thoughts. It's been a tiring day for me. So the conversation continues. You can follow me. You can follow me on Instagram at Taiwo Akinlami. You can follow me on Twitter at Taiwo Akinlami. And I want to beg you, as Dr. Vivian Okoye is telling you, it's not bad news that should continue to trend. Let this program trend. If you have learned one or two things today, go out there and talk about this. Share this program. Invite more people tomorrow. Let's hold this conversation and help make it helpful, make it healthy, make it meaningful, make it powerful, make it inspirational, so that at the end of this program, we can rescue some parents. They understand what to do. They know how to secure a friendly and protective environment for their children, and they are able to contribute to the lives of their children in a way that is beyond the ordinary, because the ordinary achieves ordinary. It is only the extraordinary that achieves the extraordinary. God bless you. Have a wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And we call it a day. Thank you for this amazing session. I personally learned something new. In fact, I learned a lot of things from this session. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in. There are a lot of prayers in the comment section for you. We have almost almost 50 people currently on right now. and they are saying, God bless you, sir. Thank you for the session. Thank you so much, and God bless you. So thank you, sir. We are collectively saying thank you, thank you, thank you for this amazing session.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sir, please just get some rest. We are sorry that we dragged you. We didn't allow you to rest
I
from your
appreciate it.
journey, and we just dragged you.
Oh, it's a duty. 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 Thank you so much. Good night.
All right, thank you. All right. So guys, thank you. Follow Barrister Taiwo on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Continue to share. We come back tomorrow. You get the schedule in your email or in Telegram. If you're not in the Telegram channel, please find yourself in the Telegram channel. The link is in one of the emails that we sent to you as soon as you signed up. So get people to sign up, share the links, share the posters, share the quotes, use the hashtag Parent Summit Africa 2020. I want you to share this on your Instagram story and tag me at Vivian with a double N .Okoye, and I'll repost as soon as you tag me. So guys, let's call it a day. We have tried today and we have learned a lot. Meditate on everything that you have learned, draw out an action plan, and know where you need to tighten up, and where you need to implement all the things that you have learned today in your own family and with your children. So that would be it for today. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And my love to your children. Cheers.